Alright, so episode 3, Local Color. We get more information on Molly's power. In 1991, Henry was missing. She visited his house and, oh, she killed Steph. Awkward. And it seems like she might have been channeling him or someone else, though, based on, like, the fact that she was out in the cold and she put on his jacket. It was kind of weird, her behavior. Or she's just kind of a crazy murderer. One of those. Okay, so we also see that when Henry was a kid, he didn't have a great relationship with his father, and he says, F you, Dad, while he's burning this VHS tape that has some sort of date on it that I couldn't read, but I really tried hard to. But it's implied that Reverend Dad was kind of abusive, and maybe that was part of the reason why Molly killed him and that Henry disappeared. And we see not Pennywise, and I know he's supposed to be evil, but he's so damn sad. And so Lasky and the other guard got hush money to keep quiet about his existence, and they watch over him while this poor dude's just eating white bread. And he loses his, when he sees a portrait of Lacey next to a portrait of Warden, oh my god, Warden Norton, that is hard to say, who was the in the Shawshank Redemption. Okay, so Polly goes on a journey to get some drugs, and man, drugs are not worth that. What in the actual fuck? We see this, like, creepy child mask court, and never has there been so much nightmare fuel. Anyway, she gets arrested, and then Henry, who happens to be at the police station the next day, bails her out. And they have this wonderful conversation where Molly compares him to a song that's been stuck in her head. Glorious. And he ends up helping her by taking her to this Local Color, which is a local broadcast station where she has, like, literally mortgaged her house so that she can afford to get an advertising spot in it because she is a realtor. And while she's there on air, her power's going to go haywire, and she picks up, I guess, Henry's broadcast, and she ends up on air divulging the information about not Pennywise while Warden Porter happens to be watching, and then she realizes she needs to do some action because now the public knows about him. Okay, so this gets Henry into the prison to see not Pennywise, finally! And Henry takes charge and tells the kid to keep quiet. Like, does anyone even stop to consider that maybe he doesn't understand what people are saying to him? Because he doesn't seem like he does. Like, man, get him a psychiatrist, get him someone with a heart, like, get him Molly, this is killing me. So, while he's talking, not Pennywise asks Henry, has it begun? So something's going to begin, and that's important. I don't know what, the apocalypse? I'm assuming. And then not Pennywise asks in the most pathetic way, how many years old are you? To which Henry replies, 39. And lastly, not Pennywise says, do you hear it now? Which is something that Henry's father, the evil reverend, asked him while they were in the woods, I'm assuming before he went missing. So either not Pennywise, like Molly, can read minds, or this is some kind of important quote that we're going to need to remember. Kind of like that one. So theory, do you hear it now? There's something happens in the lake. Going back to my Tommy Knockers theory. Alright. Episode 4. The Box. Okay, so Wasky is a really sweet guy. He's gonna die. We see that there are 4 episodes in, he's caring, he's sweet, he's kind, and he is not cut out to be a prison guard, like, at all. And he's truly the only good-hearted person in this show. He goes to see not Pennywise and gives him a fist bump. I have a feeling this fist bump's gonna end badly. But the look on not Pennywise's face is so shocked when he gets the fist bump, it's really sad. Okay, so Dick, the prison guard businessman, threatens not Pennywise. Everyone's speaking to this kid like he's an adult who's fully able to comprehend what they're saying. This kid doesn't know anything. It's fine, it's fine. So this terrorized, traumatized kid, maybe if people were kinder to him, the devil wouldn't be the devil. That's all I'm saying, you know? Okay. Anyway, so not Pennywise for the first time ever actually stands up for himself and says something, and what he does is he quotes Revelation 19:12, which is, he has a name written on him that no one knows but himself. He is dressed in a robe dripped in blood, and his name is the Word of God. That's all he says, but to continue on to that, it talks about how he is robed in white, and he comes on a white horse. And this is not to be and this is about like the second coming of Jesus Christ, not to be confused with Revelations 19:19, which tells of the coming of the Antichrist. So I have a theory that not Pennywise is the Antichrist. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I really hope it's not. I'm thinking maybe he's going to be related to Randall Flagg from The Stand, Andre Lanos from Storm of the Century, or most likely Leland Gaunt from Needful Things. Or Henry is, and not Pennywise is there to combat him. I don't know which. I'm hoping it's one of the two. So anyway, we see a bit more of the relationship between Pangborn and Henry Henry does not like the relationship that Pangborn has with his mother, Ruth, although it does seem like Pangborn really does love her. I'm not really sure what happened to his wife, Polly, from Needful Things. Well, his girlfriend, but you do find out that they get married, so I don't know what happened to her. Anyway, Pangborn reveals that Reverend Dad gave him a note after he'd had his accident. Henry did it. So Pangborn thinks that Henry killed his father, and we learn that Henry really does not remember anything before he was found by Pangborn in 1991. And he starts getting these flashbacks, and we see that he was kept in a cellar behind a chain link fence on a sand floor. So I guess it's something to keep in mind. I have no idea what it means as of yet. Okay, so Henry does the most cliche thing, and he goes to a library and uses microfiche to get some research on. And he found that January 14th, 1987 was when Warden Lacey got the job as warden. And then we also learned that when he had disappeared, one person was interviewed, and that was Joseph Desjardins. I don't know if I pronounced that right. So the name Desjardins is kind of important. We know that in Carrie, the gym teacher in the book was Rita Desjardins. However, that wasn't her name in the cinematic adaptation. And we also know that in Stand By Me and The Body, his brother, Vince Desjardins, was one of the bullies. Alright, so Desjardins is played by David Selby, and he's the most uncomfortably scary person I've ever seen. And I love Dark Shadows, so I love the show. And he's also in Legion, by the way. So anyway, Henry goes and talks to him, and he has like a file from like the police are supposed to have. It's really weird. And he says, like, you know, casual things like, I can see the boy in you. Run. And you know I never touched you. And the last scene has this great song. Unfortunately, it's used as the background as Zawoski has totally lost it, and he goes on a killing spree. He uses 12 bullets to kill, I think it was 8 people, I'm not entirely certain, but that was kind of foreshadowed at the ending of episode 1, which is weird and really great. They do a lot of really good callbacks in this show. And unfortunately, poor Henry sees guard number 2 get shot right before some other guards come and take down Zawoski, and the guns go off in his ear, and I feel like that's going to have something to do with the next episode. And shouldn't have fist bumped not Pennywise, man. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. But did not Pennywise know that them touching was going to be a bad thing? Did he plan it? Did he want this to happen? I have no idea, but he doesn't seem evil. Just doesn't, okay? Alright, for the 5th episode, The Harvest. This episode starts off with a flashback for 2016, and we see Henry is seeing a doctor with a hearing issue, and he says that he's had it since he was a teenager, which I think is a callback to the "Can you hear it now?" that not Pennywise and Reverend Dad have said to him, or both asked of him. So it's been a couple of weeks since Zawoski's killing spree, and it looks like there's a huge fire going off on Flag Mountain, which I hope is a reference to Randall Flagg from The Stand, but I'm not really certain. So anyway, it seems like all hell is breaking loose. Speaking of breaking loose, Warden Porton calls and releases not Pennywise, and Henry freaking finally realizes that he has no clue about himself or anything in the world. And so he takes him to this hospital where they do some scans where nothing seems irregular, which is kind of weird because I feel like something should have come back as like a red flag. Anyway, so they say he has amnesia, and they make a reference to Juniper Hill Asylum, which is where Henry Bowers from It went to stay when he was institutionalized. And then there's another flashback. So many flashbacks. And to Lacey with not Pennywise, and he's basically telling him he's evil. Oh, that's sad. But it seems like it wasn't too long ago in the past, though, but not really certain. Alright, so Ruth, Henry's mom, who has like dementia or something, seems to be getting worse, but she tells Pangborn something terrible is going to happen. I feel like that's important. Not gonna brush that by me. Anyway, alright, so Henry takes Not Pennywise to Molly's place of business where he's going to stay the night. But during the night, he goes out around town and he walks into a house, and this seemingly nice family just divulges into like madness and violence, and then he just kind of sits there and listens, and it's kind of sad. I feel like he doesn't seem like he's doing anything intentionally awful, but it's just like all these bad things are happening around him regardless of it. That's like what he meant for it to. I don't know. He just looks curious and pathetic. Gosh. So back to Molly's rather. Now Pennywise meets Jackie Torrance, who is her intern, and she goes and gets him some decent clothes, and she's telling him about the town. Like, she wants to be a writer, and she mentions Cujo, and she mentions the dark half, and she mentions that her uncle kind of took an axe to his family at a hotel resort, The Shining. And then we go to this dedication ceremony that they're naming, the town is naming a bridge after Pangborn. And is that Rory Culkin in the background? Yes, it is Rory Culkin in the background. During the ceremony, Ruth is paying attention to this Rottweiler, and it seems really omen, and then she runs off the bridge and dives off it, and then Henry goes after her. Don't worry, everyone's fine, but it's kind of a weird moment. I don't know what's happening. And then we go back to Jackie. Not Pennywise is sitting down listening to a radio with listening to all these horrible news reports, and he ends up on the roof, and then she freaks out and calls Molly, and then Molly goes on the roof to talk to him, and he seems like really distraught and sad, and like he's in pain. He's kind of twitching, and he says, "Oh gosh," he says, "I shouldn't be here. I should still be in the hole." And he's all these sounds are going off, and you can hear the barking from Cujo, and you can hear someone say, "Do you want to see a body from the stand?" And you hear the sirens and people screaming. And then Molly shows up at Henry's house with Not Pennywise to tell him what happened, and she says he feels wrong. With him, it's like listening to the pain of the entire town all at once. That's harsh. And so Henry has no idea what to do with this information, but Molly thinks that he doesn't believe her, so she tells him about himself. And she mentions that he has a kid. Okay, so his kid is going to be Wendell. I won't say who he's played by, but there is another reference to a Stephen King adaptation in this. And I guess he has an ex-wife named Merritt, which is kind of a weird name, but I love it. So then Henry lets Not Pennywise stay at his place, and they go up, and Not Pennywise sees a piano, and he starts to play Savant. And then he looks over and says, "I remember." And after that, things go crazy. So Pangborn is drunk, and he's at the bridge, and he goes there with a wrench, and he takes off the plaque, and he throws it in the water because it's all just BS. And then he sees through this app that they have with their security footage that Not Pennywise is there, so he goes into the woods looking for him. And he runs into them in the woods, and it's dark, and they have a conversation, and it's so gripping. "Pangborn, you know who I am. You remember me." And this is intercut with flashbacks that he's seeing of Lacey in 1991 when he pulled him over. And he says, "Wear a badge long enough in this county, and when a guy says he has the devil in the trunk of his Lincoln, it doesn't sound that crazy." So he had poor Not Pennywise in his trunk, and Pangborn is just let him go? Good police work, bro. I don't even know. Okay, so he mentioned that this happened 27 years ago, and that Not Pennywise hasn't aged. Wait, 27 years ago? Not Pennywise is seeming pretty Pennywise to me, yo. So anyway, so he's ageless, so he might be immortal or non-human or an angel or the devil or the Antichrist or the Christ. I don't know. I just don't want this to be a clear-cut black and white story of good versus evil with religious overtones. I want there to be something more. I want it to be aliens. I just want it to be aliens. Okay, so Pangborn asks, "Are you the devil?" Not Pennywise says, "No." And then Pangborn asks him, "What the are you?" And he goes on to mention Ruth and how, he wanted to help the town, and Not Pennywise says, "I can help her?" You have no idea what's happening here, do you? And then it cuts with this haunting question in the air, and Pangborn is holding his gun to not Pennywise. And I have so many lingering questions, like, what is not Pennywise? Does he have any relation to Randall Flagg, Andre Lenoge, Leland Gaunt? Does the lake have something in it that's making weird things happen, like aliens? What happened to Henry's dad? Why did he say Henry did it? What's with that white carving of that, like, little guy? Why was Reverend Dad taking Henry out into the woods at, like, 2 a.m. and nothing good happens at 2 a.m.? What is up with that dog? I need to get not Pennywise. I just don't want him to be evil, okay? He's sweet. Just don't be evil. Just don't. What happened to Henry in those 11 days? Who had him? Why can't he remember? What's up with David Selby? Do Molly and not Pennywise have a connection in their powers? What's the connection between Henry and not Pennywise? What is happening here? Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will have another update on the last 5 episodes of Castle Rock and predictions for where they're going in the next season, if they have a next season. Thank you so much for watching. We need a Moon Knight movie, and have a great day.